Kiddos, it's time we had the chat. Alright, so Gillette shaving razor products, they're hip. They understand that times have changed. It's current year, 2019, and we need to talk about anime's problem with the R word. And I'm not talking about Netflix reboots. I'm talking about culture. You see, cosplay does not equal consent, and men need to learn to stop touching women. Obviously, because we all know teaching criminals and degenerates not to do something is the best way to keep them from doing it. A Kotaku article detailing this anonymous list that's detailing sexual misconduct and assaults, and apparently people running entire child pedophilia rings by anonymous people admitting that they're doing it, and it's pretty ridiculous. Look, I'm all for outing degenerates and actual horrible people, and this is the anime community we're talking about, so best believe that 100% is not false. But what is false are some of the names on this list and some of the proof that's on this list. So here's how it works. You pretty much go to this guy who calls himself, I don't know, something gay like the curator or some shit. No one really cares. Totally a ploy to get laid. It's not gonna work, buddy. It never works. There's no such thing as a male feminist. People just call you gay. But we have things like, this one really caught my eye. His thing is just D, apparently. It's gonna be on screen, but names here that have nothing to do with the first one. And this is also a thing, they list these guys' full names and every A-list. And there's ones on here that only have one report and zero proof even attached. That's one of the things that they tout, that they don't need any proof to put someone on this list. The guy personally apparently chooses, even though he says he doesn't, and because of that they've had false accusations already on here. But apparently this guy is targeted harassment, predatory grooming, stalking, violent behavior, physical, emotional, verbal abuse, and IP, or he stole your intellectual property? That seems more of a battle for trademark courtroom than a serious sexual crime. Death threats, attempting to circumvent protective orders by entering a convention setting, which I don't think that actually would violate. He would have to have expressed knowledge that you're there. You would have to prove that, all kinds of things. But this person actually attached proof, which is again a rare thing, so we can't take that for granted. Let's go ahead and check out some of this proof though that they have. This is some hard-hitting facts. I mean, if you're going to give us proof when you don't actually need proof, I mean, this has to be some smoking gun. I mean, this guy is accused of a lot of stuff like physical, emotional, and verbal abuse. That's pretty hardcore. There's 12 screenshots here. What do they all say? Nothing. Like literally nothing. I mean, some of this is just completely innocuous dribble. And this is in bright red, which has to mean, according to this list, that it was reported by multiple people with corroborating evidence, apparently. But all we have are screenshots showing me that this guy just literally doesn't know how to spell. I mean, I don't know what an Alpheon is, but apparently he was upset that someone didn't leave it out on the table. I mean, then they dox him, I guess, with his full address in this list. I don't know. And I guess they're in some sort of argument about her not being on the lease, or him wanting to take her off the lease and stuff like that. And then I don't know. There's not really a lot else. The only thing that could be possibly something bad is just her saying, we talked about last night, we talked about this a few nights ago, or we talked about this last night. This is something that needs to happen to even allow us to heal or grow as adults, and can't keep pushing you, and I can't keep letting myself suffer psychologically because of this. And it doesn't give us anything else by that. And the only other thing is just him asking for email and then the ID card to fill out forms for them, and it even ends on him saying thank you, I guess. I don't know, maybe this guy is a horrible person, but just to show you just like the amount of non-proof that this all is, that you can just be accused of and you have little to no recourse to defend yourself. And while it's saying like, oh, this is only there not to like try and witch hunt, it's for you to protect yourself, what you're literally doing is tainting public opinion about someone based upon unsubstantiated claims And you can't even read the stories in half the cases. These people have no defense here. Like, this person is, full name is here, and it only has one result, like one person who posted it because it's grayed out, and it just says stuff like takes upskirts and non-consensual shots of cosplayers under the guise of being a reporter, openly and vocally racist and anti-Semitic. What? Some of those things do not belong on this list. I didn't know this is a list about calling out supposed anti-Semites and racists. There's one here that says advances towards feminine presenting cosplayers, and in quotations also including minors, but we don't know what that means. There's things to say stalking industry guests, and I mean, maybe this is real, maybe this is stuff that they do, but the proof here is just so lacking that it becomes a witch hunt. And there was a guy who was falsely accused, as this Kotaku article will even state. He was being set up by someone who was ironically a female who was stalking him and out to slander him. And then we have famous cases like momokun, or whatever her retarded weeaboo name is, who does a bunch of cosplay stuff and was caught up in the Me Too movement as like a female harasser of other people and other cosplayers. I don't know the situation. I have no idea if that's bullshit or not, but I'm just saying, if this is something that is just taking any account and putting it on the list, why isn't she there? Is it because perhaps there's a bit of a double standard here? Probably. Yeah, probably, since it starts off by talking about nerdy geek boy culture and how we can't excuse boys for being weird and awkward. Kind of seems like you're leaving out like 50% of the population, but hey, I guess if we catch 50% of horrible people, that's good enough, though most people would consider 50% a failing grade. This doesn't even have great legal standing, seeing as how a list like this was similarly posted before with higher profile people, namely celebrities, and that person got sued for like $1.5 million. The list lasted all of a day, and we've seen this list as soon as it got any kind of popularity, immediately we had false accusations of a high profile person. Notice how that works, especially if you're posting people's full names and every single alias that they go under, and you're doing it with their addresses too. I mean, we have one that's a single result, and it's just their job is convention attendee, otakon, and the list of charges are rape, battery, use of alcohol to commit sexual assault. There's no details in that. I have no idea if what you're saying is you were drunk and you guys had consensual sex and then you later decided that was in fact rape. Don't get me wrong, there are definitely scenarios in which plying a woman with alcohol to get her purposely inebriated or feeding her alcohol without her knowing is 100% rape. That is totally you forcing illegal substances on someone to lower their inhibition without their consent. That would be rape, but I don't know that because not only is there no proof, there's literally no description of what happened. I can't make my own judgment. This list is supposed to keep me safe. Well, I've already seen false accusations of people on here, and I've seen people like momokun get on here and they're removed without any explanation. Well, how am I supposed to take all of these serious? Especially when you have stuff like people who have boundary violation and sexual assault. One of those things are drastically worse than the other. Boundary violation is a non-issue. That is literally people being nerdy and why you end up with people having hover hands. Sexual assault is kind of a big fucking deal, and I feel like that should be the first thing you mention, that the boundary violation thing shouldn't even come up. I think sexual assault is one of the biggest boundary violations you can have. And to keep it in perspective, this list isn't like super public. It's titled underneath some sort of really dumb cutesy name, and it's like fix this broken staircase and stuff. But at any given time, there are like 30 people watching this who are just logged in. And so there's tons of people who are just not even, so there's tons of people watching this who aren't logged in at all. Bottom line, lists like these don't solve anything. And I see people touting like, it's better that, you know, some people get burned with false accusations and we get the bulk, like horrible people as a good thing, that's a really shitty thing. If you're really going to go with that, that's horrible. That's not justice. Justice isn't corrupted like that, where we put innocent people on the pitchfork and we ruin people's livelihoods. I don't know how people think we have a rape culture when just being accused of rape is probably just a life sentence right there. It's a death sentence, and honestly, especially if you're a personality or something, you're not coming back from that. Look at Toby Turner. He had one anonymous accusation that was refuted by people who didn't even like him, and he lost everything. He's now a dead channel. He lost his entire career. And some of these proofs, even I'm looking here, and it's just horrible because some of these proofs have people asking for proof and the proofs and never getting it. And it's literally just he said, she said. And really at this point, it's just she said. He doesn't really matter. Some of these people are probably horrible fucking human beings and they deserve to be put on display, or at least to actually have the law thrown at them, because that's really what I care about, is the law. Sorry, but I'm not really a guy who likes to see people exposed as much as sentenced. That's kind of why our justice system is there. And you can say it's horrible and it's corrupt and it's failed, but you have to at least give it a chance to succeed before you say it failed. And when you do stuff like this, you take away that opportunity. When you side with one gender about rape, you immediately discount a large count of victims who were too afraid to come out because they're male, because they're told that they're not able to be raped, or they have to have liked it, or what are you, fucking gay? You didn't like her? And when I see people who are only have the one female that was put on this list being removed almost immediately, that kind of tells me where this list is. Seeing as how the guy who was falsely accused, yeah, he never actually got a response. I forgot to mention that. In fact, majority of his friends didn't get responses because they also commented on his behalf. It eventually took a lot of people commenting to this guy to get him to take down this guy's name. You want to go be the Punisher? Sure, fine. You go do your autistic PAing. You want to claim that that's not what you're doing? Well, fuck you, because that's exactly what you're doing. At least own up to it. Bottom line, this list sucks. Humanity is awful. Rape is bad. And if you support mob mentality and the barring of innocent people to get to one bad person, you're a fucktard. I've been Faith from Moliminous. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Let me know what you guys think about this fuckery down below in the comments. Woo! I do it for the